Adequate provision of security and the safety of lives and property have been a major source of concern for the current administration in Lagos State. In addressing this challenge, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu threw his weight behind the deployment of 1,250 special constabulary officers by the Lagos State Command of the Nigerian Police Force to strategic sports, saying the initiative will effectively combat crime and criminal activities. Welcome to the Governor This Week. I am Lekan Onabanjo. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu on Sunday assured residents of a quantum leap in the provision of groundbreaking infrastructure in 2021, saying major projects designed to uplift the welfare and living standards of the people will be unveiled this year. The governor, who spoke at a special hybrid New Year Thanksgiving service of the state held at the football pitch of the Lagos House, Alausa Ikeja, said some of the projects would be commissioned this month.
Not been for the Lord, who was on our side, the waters would have overwhelmed us. The stream would have gone over our soul. Our help is indeed in the name of the Lord who made heaven and earth. As a state, we cannot but give unending praise to God, especially considering all the blows dealt on us last year. First, there was the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic, of which our dear state has been and is still the national epicenter. And then we had what we call the incalculable violence and destruction we suffered during the course of an hijacked protest in October 2020. Either of these two tragedies could have completely disrupted and crippled our economy and our existence. But we survived both. And we did not only survive, we triumphed, and we can look back and say that we emerged from year 2020 stronger and more confident about the inherent greatness and the resilience of our state. But we have come out on the other side, alive and inspired to face the future with faith and positive expectations. We have therefore resolved, as the psalmist said in Psalm 69, verse 30, that we will praise the name of God in songs and magnify him with thanksgiving. As a government, our driving force is the vision of a greater Lagos, hinged on our 6 strategic pillars, which we call the project teams. I must especially thank the executive arm of government, my amiable and capable and able deputy, Dr. Kadri Opafemi Hamzat, and the entire members of the Lagos State Executive Council, our very hardworking body of permanent secretary, and the entire public service for their hard work and unceasing dedication to the implementation of our governing agenda of signing the largest budget in our history into law on the last day of year 2020. And it gladdens my heart that as a people today, the budget for the year is ready for implementation. Starting this month, we're going to see a renowned effort at going into uplifting their welfare and the living standards. Over the next couple of months, we have some of our 377 world projects slated for commissioning across the state in various sectors that we embark upon that we believe will give positive impact at the world level. We also have our rice mill, the 52 metric ton per hour, the biggest in the country, rice mill that will be commissioning very soon. Pen Cinema flyover for my Agege people very, very soon. Several housing estates in Badagry, in Iponri, in Lekki, in Igbobo that will be commissioning in the coming weeks. Restored Glover Hall Memorial in Marina, remodeled youth camp, and our youth engagement center in Paja. Various roads, need not mention. These are some of the things that you will begin to see as Lagosians in the weeks coming forward.
Lagos State Police Command deployed 1,250 special constabulary officers for community policing this week to boost security in different parts of the state. Speaking at the personal parade of the community policing special constabulary officers held at the Police College, Ikeja, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, while being represented by his Chief of Staff, Tayo Ayinde, appealed to all Lagosians, especially community leaders and associations, to support community policing by cooperating with the officers.
The issue of security and safety of lives and property have been a major source of concern, which requires deliberate and urgent attention by the government and the cooperation of all citizens. In an attempt to address this challenge, there was a national consensus on the need to embrace community policing, which has been identified as a potent strategy that will complement the efforts of the Nigerian police to effectively combat crime and criminal activities in our society. Today, a major progress has been toward making this initiative a reality. The passing out of 1,250 special constabulary officers who have undergone series of training, specially designed to equip them with the skills required for the job, is an indication of the commitment of the government to this initiative. I commend the State Commissioner of Police, Mr. Hakeem Odumosu. I also commend the Commandant of this reputable college and all the instructors and everyone that has contributed to the successful execution of this initiative to this crucial stage. As we all know, adequate training is key to the achievement of the goal of any initiative such as this. Let me congratulate all the special constabulary officers for successfully undergoing this rigorous of this training program designed to prepare you for the challenges ahead. You must understand that you have been recruited to perform a very important job, which is about improving on the existing security architecture and making it more effective. Your major responsibility is to support the operation of the State Police Command through the provision of credible and timely intelligence on activities within the community which might result in perpetration of crime and threats to security of life and property. In carrying out your responsibility, it is very important that you operate within the operational guidelines that have been given to you. In recognition of the importance attached to the duty you have been recruited to perform, I want to assure you that the state government will accord your welfare priority. We will also provide everything that you will require to carry out your assignment most effectively and efficiently. Let me also appeal to all Lagosians, especially community leaders and associations, to support the initiative by cooperating these officers. They are no stranger but people that are known to you within your communities. Let us therefore embrace this initiative to improve security and safety to our lives and property within our various communities. I congratulate and commend the chairmen and members of the State Community Policing Advisory Committee and the State Community Policing Committee for their effort and the progress that have been recorded so far in making community policing initiative a reality in Lagos State. I thank you all for listening. God bless you all.
all sacrifices made by members of the Nigerian Armed Forces in keeping the nation united will continue to be recognized and honored by the government of Lagos State. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, who made the pledge at the launch of the emblem for 2021 Armed Forces Remembrance Day, said the state would always identify with the heroism and gallantry of servicemen who gave their all to the service of the country, promising that the state government won't relent in supporting family members of ex-service personnel who died fighting for Nigeria's unity.
We were meant to have done this towards before the end of last year, but one event or the other, and I personally also was not around because I was also under isolation. But we thank God that we did not stop the tradition of having to launch before we do the real commemoration, which starts from this Friday, where we're going to have our usual Jumat service, and on Sunday, like the Commissioner had said, we'll have Remembrance Thanksgiving at the Chapel of Christ the Light Chapel in Alausa, and of course, which will now round up with the event on the 15th. Chairman, is to thank God for your life and all of you. Last year, we were all together. This year, God has kept you, has kept your men, has kept your family, and we're able to still see another year. As we put together this year's celebration, it will not be the last. It will not be the last. But more importantly, it's about your welfare, and that's why you launch, the emblem on a yearly basis. And like you've said, as a government, we will continue to modestly support and identify with your cause. We will continue to ensure that we can bring about succor, we can bring relief to the very gallant officers and men that have served this country at one point in time or the other. The ask list of the chairman are usually preemptive. I sense what it will be. Yes, there is need for more patrol vehicles, so we'll look for that. We will tell the Chief of Staff to see how we can put your vehicles, within the confine and collect fuel from the state government. We'll do that. We'll look at our budgetary thing. If there's space, we'll also consider seeing what we can do to augment the current budgetary allocation. I don't know what the figures are. But more importantly, is to see how we continue to ensure that we engage you, which we're currently doing, in our schools and other, public offices. We'll continue to ensure that that collaboration and that engagement continues. And so because we realize that you've served the country at your prime age, and to the extent that God is still giving a whole lot of you energy, the least we can do is to continue to support you and ensure that even the families of the fallen heroes are also not completely forgotten. So you can be rest assured that we will continue to do that. And for this year's launch, since we did a launch of 1 million last year, this year we'll do a launch of 5 million naira. Thank you very much. So, I want to thank you all very much for coming for this event. We'll do other further donations, don't worry, with the chairman and myself. And we'll see you at our events before we round it up, at TBS on the 15th. Thank you very much.
Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu sought collaboration from the federal government in rebuilding Lagos State following the aftermath of last year's EndSARS protests hijacked by hoodlums, which led to the destruction of public and private properties, including businesses in the state. Governor Sanwo-Olu said the goal of ensuring Lagos State becomes Nigeria's investment hub can only be achieved through economic collaboration between the state and the federal government. Governor Sanwo-Olu, who submitted to President Muhammadu Buhari proposals for rebuilding Lagos State and identified economic opportunities for rebuilding the state during the visit, also explained the plans of the state to tackle the second wave of COVID-19.
There are win-win opportunities that we see with the federal government. I brought some of those economic opportunities to his notice, and what we're doing and how we believe that federal government can help accelerate and fast-track some of those opportunities, because like you all know, Lagos is the commercial nerve center of the country, and so we need to very early in the year start up on economic programs and in activities that can improve not only our foreign direct investment but also make Lagos an investor destination in the country. We've been able to directly begin to support such businesses, especially on the micro small level, using the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund, right? They have started intervening and supporting some of those small businesses, giving them grants, giving them soft loans, and making sure that they can come back together very, very quickly. The bigger, larger items around infrastructure, around transportation, they will take a fairly longer time. We're talking about a period that is still under 3 months. So it's still a working document that we're doing, right? And we also need to be very creative with how we raise the finance. A lot more people require, oxygen, attention. They need breathing, additional oxygen breathing. So we have started building what we call oxygen tent, oxygen facilities. We're building about 10 of such facilities. I think we've commissioned about 4 or 5. Of them, and we're also building proper oxygen plants, additional 2 oxygen plants in the state, so that we can meet, the respiratory requirements. We understand the virus more than where we were 10.
Speaking on his administration's commitment to addressing the second wave of COVID-19 and the increase in some of cases of coronavirus infections in Lagos State, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu said the state government has built about 10 oxygen plants and commissioned about 4, while also providing other facilities in public buildings to meet the respiratory requirements. He said the second wave seems to be a bit more infectious than the first one, considering the number of people who have tested positive to COVID-19 and the fatality rate around the country, especially in Lagos. The governor therefore urged the citizens to take responsibility and to know and appreciate that COVID-19 is real. Therefore, they need to obey all the protocols that have been set out for them. In attestation of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu's efforts, the Commissioner for Health, Akin Abayomi, showcased one of the plans to meet the respiratory health needs of those infected by COVID-19.
So we're at the Infectious Disease Hospital in Yaba here, where we're receiving most of the patients that are coming in right now in the second wave. As if you're watching the news and you're following the data, we're getting a large number of patients being admitted in the second wave, and a lot of them seem to be very dependent on oxygen. So our demand for oxygen is rising and escalating dramatically, and we're pulling oxygen from as many places as we can, but we've also have a plan in Lagos State to generate our own oxygen, and this is the instructions from the incident commander, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, the governor, that we should have our own oxygen plants in our facilities in Lagos State, particularly here at IDH during the COVID response. So this is a brand new plant. It will be producing up to 60 cylinders of oxygen in 24 hours. It's a collaboration between Lagos State government and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And that's a good example of the collaboration between the government and private sector. We've been putting this together since yesterday. It should go live today. So tonight Once we connect it, we're just waiting for some power to be connected to the facility, and then it will start generating oxygen for our patients right here on ground in IDH.
Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has reiterated his administration's commitment to supporting the welfare of ex-service personnel and serving gallant officers, saying he will continue to ensure that succor and relief are brought to them in appreciation of the sacrifices made in protecting the sovereignty of the country. And that's it on the governor this week. But then you can continue with conversations of the governor's activities on all these social media platforms showing on your screen. See you next week. I am Lekan Onabanjo.